What's up, folks? Your buddy Fatalroadie. Thanks for doing a Raw recap. We start off on a somber note as we remember James Harris, better known as Kamala, who passed away this weekend. We opened up the show with Samoa Joe in the ring for a contract signing. He introduces Seth Rollins and Dominic, who comes out with a kendo stick. Rollins starts off by saying his bit. He said he had no choice of being the Monday Night Messiah and exclaims, "When is enough?" Dominic replies, "It's never enough." Dominic says that Rollins has been given nothing but excuses through all this. Rollins says he's going to give him a stipulation in the match at SummerSlam that Dominic can use anything that he wants, being the fact that he has absolutely no chance on winning. They both signed their contract. Dominic also signs his contract, officially making him a WWE superstar. Rollins tells Dominic to get out of his ring because he's got a match next against Humberto Carrillo. This was actually a good match. A couple times Murphy tried to interfere, but Dominic waved him off with the kendo stick. It was a really fast-paced match, but Rollins hits the curb stomp, gets the pin. After the match, Murphy attacks Dominic. He's soon joined in by Rollins. Dominic tries to fight back, but the numbered game had the best of him. Rollins blasts Dominic with a kendo stick. Rollins and Murphy tie Dominic up in the ropes. Rollins continues to wail away with the kendo stick, cutting to the camera to say hi to Rey Mysterio. Murphy pulls out a bunch of kendo sticks, and both Rollins and Murphy take turns smacking the hell out of Dominic. After commercial, we have a recap of the beatdown on Dominic that just happened a couple of minutes ago. We are not goldfish, WWE. Come on. We then have another recap from last week when Retribution struck Raw and SmackDown. There's going to be some more ridiculous shit for this one. We then go on to our next match with Angelo Dawkins versus Andrade. Before the match, Zelina Vega gets on the microphone. She doubles down on the fact that she's innocent. During Dawkins' entrance, the power goes cutting out again. This is an okay match. There was a lot of action. At one point, Zelina Vega gets on the apron to distract the referee. Bianca Belair comes running out, pulls her down, knocks the hell out of her. Dawkins hits the cash out and gets the pin. Belair continues to beat down on Vega, throws her into the ring, and we have our next match, Bianca Belair versus Zelina Vega. This is an okay match as well. It had a really good pace to it. Vega was periodically screaming out that she didn't do it. Belair hits the KOD, gets the pin. We then had the Waste of Time Lounge with MVP, Bobby Lashley, and Shelton Benjamin. MVP is pissed from last week. He says there's a big conspiracy against him. He blames all of it on Apollo Crews, which of course brings out Apollo Crews. After a whole bunch of jaw-jacking, MVP points out that Apollo Crews came in by himself, and Crews says to MVP that the only lights that are going to be going out at SummerSlam is going to be his. He rushes the ring, nails MVP, chucks the furniture out of the ring, and we have our next match. Shelton Benjamin versus Apollo Crews. This was another good match. Two big powerhouses going at it. There were a lot of cool spots here. I really liked this match. I thought this was going to be something of a throwaway, but it was really good. Lashley distracts Crews. Shelton Benjamin gets a surprise roll-up. Benjamin gets the pin. After the match, Bobby Lashley goes for the full Nelson. MVP stops him and says, I need him healthy for SummerSlam. And Apollo Crews thanks MVP by giving a kick in the head and bolting the hell out of there. And we got breaking news. A cinder block was thrown through the Performance Center window by Retribution. It still hasn't gotten ridiculous yet. We got a backstage interview with the returning Mickie James. She's quickly interrupted by Natalya and Lana, so that looks like it's going to be the next feud we're going to be seeing. We got a recap of last week's Raw Underground, which is supposed to be coming in a little bit. Then we go backstage where Ivar's talking to some random chick again. Seriously, we don't even know who she is. This is the second time. The last one was on SmackDown. We didn't know who she was. And then the one chick was from the Bachelor or the Bachelorette. Anyways, nothing. No, who are you? Nothing. Just hitting on some chick. Alright. Anyways, we got a recap again of the beatdown of Dominic. And we go on to our next match. Team said Ricochet and the Viking Raiders versus Akira Tozawa and 3 Ninjas. This was a glorified squash match. It was pretty much a waste of time. Alexander, Ricochet, and the Viking Raiders win it. But as one of the ninjas and Akira Tozawa were running up the ramp, a referee comes running out. That one ninja pins Akira Tozawa. Turns out it's R-Truth, and he's now, again, the 24/7 champion. I think he's like 38-time champion or something like that. In a backstage interview with Drew McIntyre, he says that Randy Orton is a thing of the past and that Evolution will pass him up. On to our next match, Liv Morgan versus Peyton Royce. Billie Kay and Ruby Riott are at ringside. This is a match. Wasn't much to it. They did sprinkle a couple little seeds here. Billie Kay jumps onto the apron, followed by Ruby Riott, but the referee only sees Riott, which gives her a distraction. Peyton Royce hits the Deja Vu, gets the pin, so it's kind of sprinkling the little seeds of Ruby Riott maybe not being sincere about wanting to team back up with Liv Morgan. Okay, I don't see that happening. I think that's going to pull through, but who knows? Okay, cool. We then start off Raw Underground with Riddick Moss versus, I think he said Kyle Bloom. I couldn't hear the name too well. Anyways, Riddick Moss won it. It was cool. We then go into our next match, Asuka versus Bayley with Sasha Banks at ringside. If Asuka wins it, she'll be facing Sasha Banks at SummerSlam for the Raw Women's title. Through part of this match, we got the lights flickering off again. This was a good match though. Sasha Banks distracts Asuka, which allows Bayley to get an ankle lock in. Of course, Bayley starts getting cocky. Asuka locks in the Asuka lock. Bayley taps out. So Asuka's going to be facing Sasha Banks for the title at SummerSlam. We go back to Raw Underground. We got Arturo Ruiz. I'm sorry if I butchered that name, versus Nobody. We don't even know who the hell this man is. This Nobody gets beat down. Ruiz win it. Okay, cool. It was decent. Then we got Daba Keto versus, once again, Nobody. We don't give him a name. These guys are the red shirts of the WWE. Daba flat out ragdolls this dude. Performs a Mongolian dick twist.
Twist his dick! Oh my god. Oh, dick twist!
Lays this Nobody out and wins. Shayna Baszler then jumps up onto the mat, stares down Keto, but that's not going to happen. That would have been interesting as hell. She's looking for an opponent. She jumps off the mat, grabs somebody, chucks her into the ring. Then two others join in, so it's a 3-on-1. And Shayna Baszler makes short work out of all three of them. We then cut outside where Retribution had flipped over a Lincoln. What the fuck? Are you fucking kidding me? These scrawny little pricks couldn't even flip over a Prius, let alone a Lincoln. I'm sorry. That was just straight stupidity of itself. That this group of, 5, 6, 7 scrawny people are that big of a threat. Just open up the doors for Raw Underground and let them run loose over Retribution. Problem solved. We then go back to the ring for Kevin Owens versus Randy Orton with Ric Flair at ringside. This was a very physical match. It was good. I liked it. They gave it a pretty long run time. I think it started at like 10:30. They let this match go the entire rest of the show. I liked it. Owens and Orton were taking it to each other inside and out of the ring. Kevin Owens went for the stunner, but Orton countered it, hit him with the RKO, got the pin. After the match, Orton gets on the microphone, tells Ric Flair to hang around. He needs to talk to him after a commercial. Orton says that he's pissed at Flair for what he got himself into with the match with Kevin Owens, but Orton really can't stay mad at Flair. Orton says he doesn't love or respect Flair because he is a liability. Orton continues to run down Flair, calling him a whore for the spotlight and that he's washed up. Flair gets on the microphone. He concedes to what Orton was saying, but sums it all up in saying that he wants Orton to beat his record, being a 16-time champion, and not to let Cena do it. Orton and Flair hug it out, and just when you think things are going well, Orton gives a low blow to Flair, laying him out. Orton runs into the corners, getting set up for the punt. Just as he's running in, the lights go out. Right as soon as the lights come back on, Ric Flair's laid out. Drew McIntyre comes running in, chases off Randy Orton. He checks on Flair. He calls Orton an evil son of a bitch. And Orton and McIntyre stare each other down as we end tonight's Raw. Oh my God, everybody. Go play your lottery numbers. We actually had a pretty good Raw, in my opinion. There was only one match that I really wasn't crazy about, and that was the Liv Morgan Peyton Royce match. I mean, it was okay. I wouldn't call it a bad match, though. Everything else was really good. We weren't really talk heavy. Once again, WWE thinks we have the attention span of a goldfish because they brought up the Dominic beatdown 3 times. This whole Retribution faction thing is ridiculous. Like I said, these people could not flip over a Prius, let alone a goddamn Lincoln. I say, like I said, open up the doors of Raw Underground. Baba Keto can take them all out in one shot. But all in all, it was a decent Raw. I liked it. So we'll have to see what goes down on SmackDown. That'll do it for this episode of Raw Recap. I'll be back later this week for the SmackDown review. Leave a comment down below what you thought of tonight's Raw, what you thought about this video. If you liked it, please give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to share and subscribe. I've been Fatalroadie. You've been awesome. Thank you very much for watching. And remember, if it's too loud, you're too old. See ya.